People who let their mom count to 0. What happened? My mom didn't count down. She counted up. She would put her fingers up dramatically, and you knew each finger was your own failure at not doing what she wanted right then and there. She would calm down if you did what she wanted before she got to the second hand. She would whoop you if she got counting to the second hand. If she went back to the original hand to count more, you get whooped and lose everything in your room. We, siblings and I, never made it to the fourth hand of counting. But once when I did almost get to the fourth hand, I straight up tried to jump out of the car. Wasn't in motion as we were at a light, but still, and just run away. The panic was real. I didn't know what I had done wrong at the time, and I opened the door and went for it and got caught on the seat belt and fell out of the car and hurt myself. But it stopped her from counting, lol. I wouldn't get out of bed. When she got to 0, she sighed and left the room. I snickered to myself and went back to sleep. Woke up approximately 2 minutes later to a pitcher of ice water being poured from head to toe down the length of my bed. We never had a problem after that. She could just rattle a glass of ice water from down the hall and I'd have my shoes and socks on by the time she got to the door. Very effective. I don't remember anything after she said 0. I was so pissed of that I stood there until she reached 0. Then she hit me in the arm with the hairbrush, which was significantly big. It broke in two. I felt such a badass that I went on all that day showing the bruise in my arm and telling the story of how I broke the hairbrush in two. It hurt like hell, but I had a story. Smack. Once my mom got really mad at me because I didn't want to clean my older brother's room and threw me out of the house. I spent the day with the dog and my dad snuck me some ham. Good times. Edit. Why did I have to clean the room? Mainly because he never cleaned it, and for some reason my mom decided to raid the room. He was at work or college. So my mom decided to take her anger out on me by trying to make me clean it. It did not work. She got the wooden spoon. Anyone else's mom have a giant wooden spoon? As she reached the end of her count and her lips formed the word 0, her eyes turned cold and still. Suddenly both eyes had merged into one, and I saw a gaping black hole within. I knew I shouldn't have peered inside, but I did. Through the silent abyss I saw an ocean floor. It was dark, and I knew the surface was hidden miles above. The water was like a massive pool of ice and I was alone. Feeling so desperate and isolated, I gazed around, hoping to find some form of life. But alas, there was none to comfort me. The sound of silence willowed like a shadow across the sand. I didn't know when and I didn't know where from. But the end was awaiting me somewhere deep within that abyss. I held my breath and shook my head violently. And suddenly I was back at home again. My mother was still standing there towering above me, wooden spoon in hand. I ran into my room. Never did I speak about what I saw that day, and never will I again. My mom stopped counting down after an incident with my older brother. He was around 4 at the time. He never let my mom get to 0. But one day he decided he would see what happened. He was playing outside the apartment in the street. My mom was yelling at him to come back, and then she started counting. He kept playing, testing her resolve, and then when she got to 0, she saw the car barreling down the street. She screamed for him to move, but he wouldn't, so she sprinted to him and pulled them out of the road right before the car got to where he was standing. That was the day she learned that when kids become defiant, counting doesn't work. She said, "Ready or not, here I come." When I was really young, my older brothers, all 10 years plus older, would tell me how mom would get and use the dog lead if she was serious. I never took notice of it really. Fast forward to being 15. My living room has a large round dinner table, and my brother and mom are in the same room. Upon reaching 0, I shit you not, she goes and gets this long metallic dog lead and starts lassoing it like a veteran cowboy. Then proceeds to chase me around the table. The whole time, I'm screaming to my brother to help me as his eyes paint a poor guy. But we warned you, picture. In the end, I did what you wanted me to do. Don't mess with your mother people. They're bloody tough. My father usually did the physical disciplining, but he wasn't at home at the time. Once my mom finished counting to 0, she started yelling at me and grabbed at the paddle. She went on and on about how mad she was at me for making her do this, that it was really going to hurt, and even said the old, "This is going to hurt me more than it hurts you." She was losing her mind and I was absolutely terrified. Then she grabbed my arm, drew back the paddle, swung it down, and tap. She just couldn't bring herself to physically hurt me. Tears were streaming down her face. She was so upset. God help me, but I laughed. The 12-year-old little shit that I was thought it was absolutely hysterical. It was just that there was so much of a build-up, in that I truly believed that it was going to hurt like hell. But then tap. I genuinely felt bad laughing, but I couldn't stop. She then said something along the lines of, "You're in for it now." With her eyes all bugged out, she swung again and tap. That's when I started howling. I kept laughing through the next 7 or so hits, but they gradually started getting hard enough to not be funny. I did manage to stop laughing by the time I'd assumed the next hit would actually hurt, and played it up a bit. First and last time my mom ever hit me, as far as I can remember at least. I think all those kids are still on timeout, silent treatment. If nothing else worked, my mom would enter a sort of apparently you know better than I do state of mind and pretty much ignore everything I do from that point onwards. Of course, her goal was to give me the feeling of her giving up on me and just leaving pathetic little me be. As one might guess, this always worked in her favor. I learned about what an asymptote is. She actually kicked me out of the car and made me walk home. It was late 10 p.m. or so, and dark, but I knew where I was. I started walking down the road and then there was a follow-up countdown to get me back in the car. Immediately, my mother slapped me across the face only once in my life. I was being a shitty tween and deserved it. I was so mad. I went into her makeup bag and made a pretty realistic bruise on my face that I wore for a few hours. She was horrified at what she thought she had done when it mysteriously vanished after washing my face. She was pissed. This isn't me writing this. This is my clone in the afterlife. I ran to my room and slammed the door and locked it. Let's just say, my ass was hurtin' for a bit after and my door was no longer on its hinges. Tears of joy. Well, I ran to the hills. Well, 2020. A favorite story in my husband's family. When he was about 4 to 5 years old, his mother got to 0. She broke the wooden spoon over his ass and this kid stone cold turns to her and goes, "That didn't hurt, but I'll choose to behave." And that about sums up everything you need to know about him. No one here could answer honestly. Those kids didn't make it back to tell us. Honestly though, I did witness the result in a friend's house. Once his mom got to 0, she told him to get the kit. It was a set of boxing gloves for her and a helmet for him. They squared up and she went at him. He was allowed to dodge or block blows, but couldn't hit her back. When it was over, he put the kid away and came back to playing GoldenEye. Pistols only in the basement. Yes, I remember exactly what we were playing. I got my ass beat. It was never my mom. It was my dad. I got the belt once or twice, but he preferred the switch. He let my sister and I pick it out our own and we thought the thin ones would hurt less. We were stupid. They did not hurt less. She went to get my dad. That's when I got worried, lol. I got my ass beat. Tears of joy. Running doesn't help either. I definitely don't recommend. She's already pissed and if you make her chase you around you're gonna regret it, trust me. Nothing. That's why everyone takes advantage of her as adults. It's RLY sad. Ass whopping is what happened. The filthy whore broke both of my arms and then tried to say sorry. Well, anyone who did that will be able to answer this anymore. They're all long gone. Armageddon. My mom didn't count. She held up her hand and made a mouth-closing motion and then a fist. It meant pie hole. or ear hole, meaning shut the fuck up or I'm gonna punch you in the mouth. It wasn't a threat, it was a promise. She slapped me with a salmon. Totally not proud of this, but my mom never laid a finger on me again. I took $50 for a ticket to go on a ride at a small town carnival that was going on. I went home and my mom was seeing red over those 2 quarters. She couldn't buy cigarettes apparently. As soon as I walked through the door she told me to get to my room and of course I mouthed off. Typical teenager. She counts down to 0, stomps over to me with a belt in her hand, yanks me by my hair into the room and starts to beat the shit out of me with a belt buckle. I don't remember how it happened but I managed to get the belt and I started hitting her with the buckle. I've never seen her face look like that in my life, horrified. I told if she ever laid a finger on me again I would kill her. I moved out of the house shortly after. We do not have a relationship to this day. I don't miss her. She beat my ass. The fuck do you think happened? My mom counted to 3. If I hadn't done the thing or started doing the thing by 3. The punishment varied according to age and how serious the thing was. When I was little it was spankings. But as I got older and had friends and cared about a social life it was getting grounded. One time I tried to defy her and got grounded for a week. Can't remember what I was refusing to do. She marked the days I was grounded on the calendar with a big X. I said no, I wasn't grounded. She marked another X on the calendar. I kept saying no and melted down in a full-on tantrum. She kept marking X's. Ended up grounded for over a month. But she did let me earn time off my sentence with chores and stuff. But most of the time it was small stuff and I'd have certain privileges taken away. TV, video games, things like that. I got brutally beaten with a stick and still have scars on my lower back and butt. Countdown to 0. My mom hated math. Pablo, why aren't we alive? Anyone who claims to have done this is a liar. There is no way. Wait, your mom counted? Mine never actually got to 0. 1/2, 1/3, 1/10. What happened was that I learned about fractions ahead of my class. A lot of these comments are child abuse. Jesus. Some of your mums are abusive assholes. Here I was thinking you just get your dessert privileges taken away. Like in my house. I'm sorry you guys had to experience that. Any reply to this is a lie. No one can survive what happens after 0. PFFT. Amateurs. Pro moms have mastered the look. Put me on a plane alone to go live with my dad. Let dad count to 0 once about 6 months later. Woke up on the couch. We never talked about it but I suspect he punched me. He did Golden Gloves for a couple decades. She stamped on my ingrown, infected toenail on purpose. Good thing is she doesn't have big toenails. 'Cause she dropped bricks on them when she was younger so I did it back to both her feet and with my full body weight, etc. It's just math class if you're homeschooled. Nothing. Honestly, I must have dreamed it 'cause once I woke up from the nap in the kitchen I don't remember laying down. For she was gone. I got hit point blank with a Kamehameha. The older I got, the less she actually did anything. Sue_, lost my arm. Yes, we were in Walmart and I guess I wanted some and when she counted down, she brought me to the bathroom and I got my ass handed to me. She said we wouldn't leave until I stopped crying. Everything went black. Then when I woke up on a Wadden cart when a strange-looking man told me that I was caught trying to cross the border. People who let their mom count to 0 don't exist. They have perished at the hands of their mother. The people who comment here are frauds. Mama, Lord Fantastic, you have until 1 to get right in front of me. 10. Lord Fantastic, Mom, I didn't do it. I wasn't even there. It was Lord Fantastic's older brother. Mama. 9. 8. 7. Lord Fantastic, Mom. Mama. 6. Lord Fantastic, Mama. Mama. 5. I'm not playing. No. Not there. Closer. Lord Fantastic, Mommy, you are going to hit me. Mama. 4. It's only going to get worse. Lord fantastic. You're going to hit me either way. Mama. Point 3. Start smacking me. Only abusive parents play that bullshit game. Sometimes a kid needs to be talked to like an adult when they make adult mistakes. That bullshit counting game only causes PTSD, stress, ulcers, and struggle reacting under pressure. Remember 9/11? My parents never counted, we just got hit. When my son was little you could not hit children, so when I started counting it meant time out. Didn't work. Or taking something away like a favorite toy for a time period. Also didn't work. Finally went with the old-fashioned and open hand spank on the bottom, just one as a last resort for serious infractions. Like when he threw a brick at his cousin, missed, broke the windshield on my grandparents' car. ITT, allude of child abuse. I woke up in a full body cast with her jacking me off. What do you think? Got my ass whooped. That's what happened.